No pun intended, but I understand you on the week of the bird, you talked to a bird. What's going on with Larry?
Larry is laying low in Florida. He's a snowbird. He spends half the year in Indiana, and then they do the winter thing in
Right.
in Naples, where he's had a place for good, I'd say, 30 years, and which includes, by the way, a full movie screen, a movie
Wow.
house, a studio
Theater.
with.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of cool. Okay, we're just chatting because we haven't talked in a while, and I had two questions, two things that are on my mind. Uh, and the first one was in the with this new All-Star game format, this nonsense. They won't play a real. They refuse
Right.
to play a real basketball game, and so they've got to find some other way of doing this. And they don't care about the All-Star game. It's all about the dunk contest and the 3-point. And the game is, oh shit, we got to play a game. I mean, and they made a mockery of it. And I say I blame these players. If they wanted to play basketball, we'd have a game. Well,
Sure.
they don't. They don't have any sense of personal pride. I don't understand it. So they give us 211 to 186 last year, and it's disgraceful. It's embarrassment to me. I mean, they should be embarrassed. Well, they're not going to do that anymore, and they're going to do some nonsense. Okay, so I went to Larry, and I said, Larry, what was your attitude toward All-Star games? I wanted to win. Period. Quote unquote. I wanted to win. I
Right.
said, we played competitive games. No, you don't want anybody to get hurt. You didn't go nuts. You didn't go crazy. You didn't do stupid things, but you played basketball and you wanted to win. Gee, how elementary is that? Well, we've gotten away from that. So I want to hear it from the horse's mouth, if you will, and a guy who, and that leads me to part B. In his first All-Star game in 1980 in Washington, Larry Bird made history. What was that, Bob? He made a three-pointer. I said one singular, a three-pointer that basically put the game away. Okay? And it was newsworthy. He hit a three. Wow. Well, then we got into a discussion about the three. Now, here's the revelation that I love. Larry Bird said, well, hell, we never practiced threes. He said, the first time I practiced threes was prior to the first three-point contest in 1986. I never practiced threes. I just took them when they were there. And yeah, he said, today, high school kids, it's the game. Everybody takes threes because that's the game. But in his
Right.
day, it was a bad shot. A bad shot. He said in KC one time, it was funny, he said, made him laugh. He was in New York, and Casey told him, don't take so many stupid threes in so many words. Maybe he didn't use stupid, that's mine, but he basically said, you guys you're taking too many threes. First possession, Danny cranks a three. And Larry laughed like hell. He said, I couldn't believe it. It was great. So anyway, but now the game, and I said,
But
Larry,
it
if you're
is.
playing, you want to take 10 or 11? Not really, but he'd adapt. And of course, but that's just, so that's the difference in the game. Just think about that. He never practiced a three until he just had that. He happened to have that range.
Right. 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 He had the gift. He used the form, and he wasn't greedy with it.
Oh no! Every once in a while, I would get personally angry. A couple of threes would be taken early in the game that I said, "You don't need that," and Larry would be guilty of it once in a while, not very often, but
Right.
once in a while. But that's the way. But
But even like the greats, if you look at if you look, okay, I'm gonna say the last four great NBA players. I mean, greats. Bird, Magic, Jabbar. Jabbar would come before them. Bird, Magic, Michael, LeBron. None are known for the three-point shot.
well, Larry I associate Larry with one. Yeah,
I guess, yeah,
he's
but I
one of the earlier exponents of it. And Larry, but here's the thing: I didn't get into it with him. Um, and I should have. I thought he used it strategically. I thought Larry, in his mind, saved it
right,
for late in the game as a rule, or a certain in the key at certain runs when he thought it was a good strategic weapon that he would use. And I thought he was the first great exponent of it in a strategic way. and there were other, guys that liked it right away. But anyway, Magic certainly not. He developed into where he could make them once in a while. Michael had the famous game in the playoffs when he hit when he did hit the 5 in a row against
Right.
Portland, and the famous shrug, the shrug thing. Yeah, sure. And LeBron has made himself into it. He had 3 in a row here tonight, right down the stretch.
Right. But none of these guys were.
That's not his identity. It's
No.
not. And far last in the world from Magic's identity. Magic's identity is passing, and Michael's is in all kinds of scoring, and that included the capability of making a three, but
And
not
defense.
but not a reliance on a three.
Yeah. I mean, Steph's the first guy that he's not in their class, but, before the 3-point guy was a specialist. It was Chris Ford. It was Scott Wedman. Reggie Miller and Ray Allen were probably the most complete players
Yeah,
where it was their thing. But even when Ray, and this is no disrespect to Ray, who I think should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm a Ray Allen guy. Ray was known as a 3-point shooter.
Oh, Ray was that was his identity.
That was his identity, but he was more than that. But I think Ray and Reggie Miller were the first guys known that's their identity.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I tell you another guy that was very good and that happened to be Del Curry, Steph's father.
Steph's dad, yeah.
A few guys out there like that. When the merger took place, when the three came into being,
Right.
one of the first guys in the ABA to make it an identity was Brian Taylor, and another guy was Louis Dampier. But Brian Taylor had an identity of it, and he brought it into the NBA because he did make it through with the Pacers. But anyway, you're right, Ray Allen. No, that's Ray's identity for sure. And he just got Harden just passed him for the most
Right.
and just this week. And it's funny with Harden though. I still don't. He's done this, and I don't see that as his identity.
No.
You know what his identity is? Dribbling.
Right.
22 minutes on the 24. That's to me, that's his identity. Now they're in town as we speak.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
They're in town as we speak. We'll see. And he's having another good year. But for what he's hard to like. I'm sorry. He's just hard to like.
I want to like him because I was hoping that the Nets thing would work out when he got there. And I thought, okay, with he and Kyrie and Durant, I thought they could do something because, as you had pointed out, somehow, some way, he led the league in assists one year.
I know.
And you don't believe it. You think that they're a phantom assists.
Yeah, I figured it out.
But I want to like him too. And he just doesn't, I don't know. He can't get over the hump as far as the passion. Like he should have accomplished more than he has.
He's got a negative je ne sais quoi. Usually use that in a positive way about somebody. He's got that je ne sais quoi. He's got a negative one. I can't warm up to him.
Yeah.
But you have to give him his due. He's a Hall of Famer to make for sure. But not a totally likable one.
I know. I like him, but I know what you're saying. I always wish that he was able to. I don't know. I thought he was going to turn the corner. I thought he was going to be a dish machine with the Nets, but it just didn't work out. Bob, when you mentioned, are you good with Bird before I move on? Because I have a great. What else?
That's the big thing was that the All-Star game and the fact that they played it. He's disgusted. He was invited last year. He
wouldn't go.
He thought it was a joke, and it is a joke, and it's awful. And let
me ask you something about Bird. Has your relationship changed with him since you first met him?
We hadn't spoken in quite a while. We've texted a few times. I was texting him last year when Indiana State was having the best year they've had since first time I got back to excuse me, got to do something here. The first time. No, he's just consciously removing himself from public view for the most part. He's not going out of his way to be seen. I'll tell you that. I think we will be speaking more often, and we had a very nice conversation. And I think we'll be speaking more often. But I like to think, that we're still literally we are friends. I like to feel that way, and he did confirm that for me. So that was reassuring. So
but what was it like when you covered him, or were you a columnist then? You weren't on the beat. You were the
Oh no, I was his first beat man.
Oh, you were okay.
In 1979. And I had his first 4 years until 80, and then I went to TV for that a year and a half at Channel 4. And then when I came back, I was a column. I had him. Opened his career, and I finished his career as a columnist, though.
Right.
But I opened as a beat man, and I was in on the ground floor of Larry, and of course, had one of the few people that had actually seen him play in person in Boston before he was drafted.
Right.
And when I drove Jason Stark and Mike Madden out
Right.
to Terre Haute for that famous game, we got stopped by the cops. So anyway, that's another story for another
That's
day.
a movie. That's a movie. There's a movie there somewhere.
That was the funniest. I opened the door. I got to tell it. Okay. So
I love it, man.
We go to the game, and it's
Did you hide the beer?
Indiana State, Illinois State NIT game at Indiana State. Larry wins it with a game-winning basket, and puts on a show. And we're driving back to Indianapolis about an hour and a half, whatever. And we had stopped in a convenience store, and we did pick up a couple of brewskis, and I was in fact taking a sip or two, and next thing you know, there's a blue light. Oh boy! Well, we were able to ditch the beers before the trooper got to the door. It was in the dark, and you guys going pretty fast. I said, oh, sorry, officer. We just came back from the Indiana State game, and we were talking, and I kind of lost, got track of the time. And he said, okay, you guys drive safe now.
That's it.
That was it. Welcome to Indiana Justice. We loved it.
Yeah, Indiana. You dropped that Indiana State. You were good.
Okay. Anyway, Larry and I hit it off right away. The first time I met Larry, it was to interview him for, are you ready? Us magazine in the summer of 1979. After he was
Whoa. Wait a minute. Time out. Whoa. Bob Ryan wrote for Us magazine?
One time. That was it.
What, Tiger Beat turned you down?
I don't remember the details. All I know is that it was us, and the interview, he wanted it to take place at Bob Wolf's house.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want people into his house.
Right.
And he had just bought this house right around the corner from Bob Wolf.
Oh, yeah, neighbor.
In Newton. So I do the interview, and that's where we first met. And then when the season starts, we, our interaction, and we hit it off from day one. It was always great to me. So we, and at the end of the year, he said something very flattering to people. And he said, Bob Ryan could be a coach. Well, no, that's going a bit too far. But I think he appreciated my enthusiasm for basketball, and basically, I'd like to think my knowledge of basketball. But we hit it off right from day one.